A bing, bang, boom. There we have it. Happy 4th of July, everybody. I don't have a co host, I don't have anyone else here, but I wanted to have a fun, anybody can come on type of stream. I've sent out about 30 feelers to a whole bunch of different people. About 10 people said, other content creators said they were going to come on. I'm going to go on Oozaloo's stream after this one wraps up. Lots of different people want me on tonight. It's a whole bunch of people wanting to do 4th of July streams. So hopefully we're going to have fun talking here. We should have some people coming by here in a little bit. But until then, we're going to do a bit of community engagement. Do any of you that are in the audience want to come on with me? Let me know. Say something in one of the mini chats. I have sent links out to most of the people. The shadow co-host is right behind me, says Popcorn Power. Well, hello, friend. Anyway, today I just wanted to take a nice day off, enjoy time with my family, which it has been wonderful, by the way. Everybody except my mother has left here and they're doing other stuff now, so I'm going to stream for a while. Everybody's pretty much tuckered out from all the stuff we've done this weekend. So tonight's going to be chill. I've had a great day today. Hopefully you guys have all had a wonderful holiday weekend. Excuse me. And let's see what we have here. Hi, everybody over on Odyssey and D Live. Hi, Jim. Hi, Popcorn. Hi, I have no content. It's pretty funny. Let's see here. What can we get? We should have a few people showing up soon. Let me send some reminders to remind people that I am on and they can come on right now. Let's go ahead and start with that. So let's see. Anybody in the chat right now? Ardent Party says he can come on. Hey, bass guitarist, good to see you, my brother. Hey, Simon, good to see you too, my friend. Let me post the join link here. I had it posted earlier, but something happened to it. Let's see. Let me get a join link here. I'll go ahead and put it into the chat. There we go. It is on Entropy. I'm not putting the join link on YouTube because I don't trust it. So I'm going to put it in the other places, though. Thank you, Jim. We had a great time this weekend. Got to see cousins and friends, got to shoot some guns, got to grill some hot dogs and burgers and steaks and whatnot. It was just a good old American time with some cousins, friends of the family, and, of course, family. It was a pretty good time. So we have several people that said they will be getting off work or will be getting done with family in the next 10 to 20 minutes. So we might have some people come on. But we will have to see. Until then, it's just going to be me until we get some other people on. And I will be glad to answer any of your America or Yizz plus America related queries that you may or may not have. Or that you may have, excuse me. Put them in the chat. Put them over in the Entropy question widget. I prefer that, of course, wherever you are. Oh, hey, Vorpal Anvil. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. It'd be nice to have some good old plebs in the chat today talking about shooting guns and loving stuff. Oh, we have American Populist here. Hello, friend. I see you around the way quite a bit. I see you in a lot of chats, and I think you even have a Twitter with a similar name. Well, today, let's talk about why I like the 4th of July and why Yizz likes America. We don't really talk about America a lot on my channel, like as an idea. I try to avoid socioeconomic structures and whatnot. The reason I like America is I like the concept of a place being about a people and everyone else who doesn't like that getting the fuck out. And I think that the American concept is very good. It is a very good concept. No taxation without representation. The people in charge protect your God-given rights, and you don't have a massive government, and you're not beholden to a royal bloodline. I think that's good. I like all those ideas. I like the American idea. Now, we can always argue about the original founding fathers and what they did being tied to the Jacobites and the French Revolution and all this gay stuff, and, oh, it's just proto-Marxism is, and like, I understand all those arguments. I get those arguments. I do. But you can't just negate everything. Like that is the rights version of psychologically pathologizing everything, is calling everything a fed and saying everything is Marxism. That's like the rights version of pathologizing everything. So I don't do that. I think that along the way, There were a lot of good-minded men that started America. I think they had a lot of good ideas. I think that if you're going to create something new, it shouldn't be about materialism. It shouldn't be about just trying to hate a group or overthrow a thing. It should be moral and about something positive. So the people that started America, no taxation without representation. Hey, the people here in these colonies, these are some good, hardworking people. Let's make a country about them. Let's make it about us. That's a good idea. I like that. I like the concept of America. America makes me happy. And also, it's a white country. Arguably the most powerful and the best white country we have right now. And so basically, if you don't like us, you can leave. You can go home. You can go back. You can get the fuck out. Oh, hey, we have Cinder Mountain Villager with us. Hello, Cinder. Welcome,
Hey,
my friend.
what's happening? Happy July
Well,
4th.
thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You having a good time with you and yours?
Yeah, I mean, I'm working today. I did a interview yesterday with Paul Fahrenheit based on his new
Mm,
article, The Second Civil War. And so I'm racing to get that done and ready to go
fantastic.
for tomorrow.
Fan-friggin-tastic.
Because so I hate to bring up the Second American Civil War on July 4th, but I mean, we're rapidly coming to an impasse with people who hate America, correct?
I would argue that, yes, I would argue that the American Civil War actually started, let's see,
61. When did the fate? When did
I would say in the 50s or the 60s is when it really started, I
Well, I
think,
think
because
when the Frankfurt School set up shop over here, right?
yeah, like it's hard to call a shadow invasion an active war. So I think once the Long March happened, once we became the Israel's golem, the empire of lies, once we became all of that, I think that's really when the Civil War has been on, because you basically have two different ideological factions in general fighting over the same area, fighting over the same government. That's a civil war. The first one wasn't a civil war. It was a mix of a war of secession and a territorial war of Union globalist forces back then.
Well, and
So
I think it really was to some extent like this attack on the real idea of states' rights,
yeah, I think
right?
so too.
And
Like they
I grew up with no, it was about slavery, and it's like, yeah,
not
but
really.
when that was a states' rights issue, granted, I think
Yeah.
slavery is wrong, but
I also think slavery is wrong, and I think bringing the Africans here to be slaves was wrong. I think bringing the Irish here as slaves was wrong. I don't think any people should be forced into like chains and servitude.
well,
It's one of
okay,
the reasons I don't like how we do prison. I
but
don't like
how
how we do prison either.
I'd
It's
love to.
similar.
I'd
It's
love
very
to address.
similar.
Yeah, I'd love to address that too at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been to prison, but I've gotten
Well,
into
I
some
have.
trouble.
It's not
I've
good, and I
no
I don't like our. We have a legal system, not a justice system. It's very ugly.
right.
It's
Yeah, no, and it's not about rehabilitation, and it's very
mm-mm.
soul killing. So if you really want to talk about rehabilitation, like the way that they do it is just soul killing.
Yeah. It's also,
Um,
in my opinion, it's also part of the whole anti-white machine of we have to strip the spirit and the unity
well,
and everything out of people. And
yeah.
America imprisons a huge percentage of its population. Granted, a lot of those aren't white, but
Well,
still,
I want to interject here and go one further, and it's not
please do.
just anti-white; it's anti-human. It's
Well, yeah,
soul
you could make
crushing.
that point, but I try not to. I like to stay on message with my
Well,
with my words. But yeah,
well, yeah, but I'm the guest, so
I know.
I get to trash the bathroom and the kitchen while I'm here. Not as long as I don't overstay my welcome, but it's so anti-human, and yeah, there's definitely certain peoples that spend more time in prison and are more affected by it. But it is so you're not a human while you're there. You're an animal that needs to be managed.
Yeah,
And
and I think that a part of it is like the intimidation and the spiritual crushing
yes, yeah,
of letting you know you are a peasant, pauper, slave caste. You can never rise above that. And if people are even middle class and higher, they can very often at times just afford to not be crushed by this system. But
sure,
all of you slave caste people can never escape it. And I
right.
don't I don't like that.
Oh yeah, I don't like that either. And I the reason I think when you say anti-white, and I don't know if I've made this point with you before, but I think the particularly the Anglo or just white in general, not necessarily Anglo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Protestant class is the most individualistic and
Yeah.
resistant to sort of authoritarian rule. And that's why
Yeah.
they're going after white, hetero,
Well,
cisgendered males, because they're
yeah,
the
like they
most
don't want
likely to.
wasps to have a country. They don't want wasps to
Right.
even be a thing. Like,
Right.
look at the coalition now. It's Zionists, some kinds of Judaism, some kinds of Islam, heartless globalists, and Catholics that have basically taken over this country. Like
Yeah. And
I can't point to a single mover and shaker of the entire GAE that's a big old Christian, like a Protestant Christian. It's all other stuff. Like
right.
they don't want us to have power over our own place, because they know that we galvanize and say everybody else can get the fuck out, and we're really good at that. So
Right. Yeah, there was shoot, it slipped my tongue. There was a point earlier that you made that I really wanted to address. Maybe it'll come back to me. But hey everyone, and particularly someone said hey to me, the Cronium. What was his name? Sorry, buddy.
I don't know.
He said hi to me, and I wanted to say hi back. I'm new. I don't stream, so like this is all a new experience to me.
It's okay. This is just a chill, laid back stream.
Sure,
I
Crone
was
Minion.
hoping to have more people on already, but
They'll come. They'll come.
maybe we'll see. If they don't, that's fine too. It's fine. That's all right.
I just got
It's just going to be a casual stream today, celebrating America.
I got that Protestant work ethic, so I'm champing at the bit.
Me too. I went to work when I was 15. I've been working on building stuff every day of my life. I don't know. Like I kind of think that idle hands are the tools of the devil. I feel like that some wasp came up with that. I feel like that's a very wasp thing to say.
Yeah, he probably said that, and a bunch of Catholics working for him. Zing. Haha, take that, Roman. Anyway, did you do any festivities in town? Like the little town that I live in, they do it up.
Not in a town, no. Okay. I mean, I'm sure that the township nearby here probably did a little something, but for us, 4th of July is just another reason to get together and hoot and holler and shoot guns and drink beer and have moonshine and all kinds of stuff. So, like, it's Appalachian life is pretty chill. It's a pretty good time.
Now, in the state that we live in, they've legalized moonshine so that liquor companies can sell it, and I've had it, and it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't impress me. It's like
despite what laws are on the books, if you live out here, you can make moonshine. Ain't nobody going to come tell you not to. So.
Okay. Well, I don't venture into the hills much where I'm from because I get scared.
Neither does the law. That's good. Like I've said before on this stream, or another stream perhaps, I can count the number of times I've seen the law out here where I live on one hand, and I can really only remember once, and it's when somebody got involved in some kind of interstate drug trade, and there was a murder or some abduction or something. This was back in like the 80s when I was a kid. I don't know,
sure, yeah.
But in my memorable adult life, I think I've only seen the cops once or twice, and that was just to come get someone who was either turning themselves in or some shit like that, and they had to go in a squad car or something. But in general, the law don't come out here, and the feds certainly don't come out here. So I really like that.
Kingdom of Vinland asked you, speaking of alcohol, what do you think of mead?
Oh, I've had some mead that I like. I'm not a big beer drinker or alcohol drinker of any variety. I like to, tipple at moonshine to see what kind everybody makes, just to have the flavor. And I can drink beer. I don't choke on it. Like I made myself get used to the hops taste, but I don't really enjoy anything when it comes to spirits, liquor, beer, any of it.
Okay, well,
it can taste okay, but I'm not a drinker of any kind.
I'm gonna out you right quick and just let you know that, or let everyone know that when I met Yizz, we were both kind of sitting in a holding pattern at the first night of the event in Tennessee, and we had some whiskey together.
Oh, we did. Yeah, like I said, I'm not. When I say I'm not a drinker, it's different on occasions. And if you'll recall, on that very night, I held that same bourbon for like 2 hours and barely touched it.
Oh, ooh, so strategic. Well, you sent back the first one. Yeah,
I like to smell it. I like to hold it, and I tipple at it. I just, just a tippling.
It's a prop. It's an accessory.
Well, I do enjoy the smell of a good bourbon. I enjoy the way alcoholic beverages smell much more than they taste. So, like
Oh.
when it comes to a good brandy wine, when it comes to a wine that I like, uh, I like the smell of wine, beer, spirits, etc. I just don't like the taste of most of it. So,
Yeah, I got to
but
try that once in a while. I quite like a bit of whiskey. I quite like it.
let's see. George of Ardent Party says that he's ready, but I don't see you backstage, George. You have to click the link and put yourself into the room before I see you're ready. Just telling me that you're ready doesn't do anything. You actually have to get into the Restream interface, or I can't do anything on my end.
Get
Anywho,
Protestant.
I would like to talk about more. I want to elaborate more about why I love America and the American ideal. I think that there, like, I believe in the divine order, the natural order, the great order, the great hierarchy of things, right? I think that most people are followers of a sort, and then less people are sort of a spiritual or warrior caste, and then you've got sort of your born to lead types, right? And I feel like the cancerous structure of big materialist bureaucracies, it sort of neuters all of those and only promotes the manager caste. And then you've just got a bunch of managers all fighting for management clout and let's say virtue signaling points, just trying to get what they can in the bureaucracy, just micromanaging and macro managing everything into oblivion. And then everybody else, like your warriors and your passionate priest types and your passionate kingly types, it's really hard for them to flex their wings and be in this nasty bureaucratic mess that we have now. So I don't like it. Like when you ask me, do you love America as it is now? No, I don't. I don't like the United States as it is now. I would like to get rid of like at least 50%, probably closer to 80 or 90% of all federal everything, all the alphabet agencies, the way that it functions. I'd like to limit the way that I would like to further limit federal power. I would like to roll back most of the amendments. Well, about half of the amendments. And I would absolutely like to do away with the concept of universal suffrage. I hate it all. Not just for blacks, not just for women, not just for anybody. I don't like universal suffrage. I don't think just because you draw breath, you have the same say in how things should be ran as everybody else. That's stupid. I've always thought that was stupid. But anyway, so when I say I love America and the American idea, I mean old school, like early antebellum shit when I say that. Just to let everybody know what I'm talking about.
So I have a question. How far away do you think we are from being converted into a direct democracy?
I don't think that will ever happen. I think when that is declared or tried, there will be militant secession of certain areas of the country, and it will immediately lead to hostilities.
Because
I don't.
that's
I
what
don't.
like. Go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. Go ahead.
That's what like Alexandria Cortez is talking about. Like she is
Yeah,
so
of course.
super offended by obviously the latest or one of the latest the
Yeah,
overturning of Roe v. Wade that
I
she's
know.
like we need to move this into a direct democracy.
Yep. No,
And
dude.
you don't ever see that
Ever since the
happening?
Long March, they've been talking about that.
Okay.
Ever since the Long March, like this ain't new. You've had people talking about how the Electoral College is it's a product of slavery and blah, blah, blah. Like you've had people talking about this shit since before I was born. Like the people that want the kind of things that our enemies and oppressors want, they like democracy. Like look at Palpatine. I love democracy. Of
Well,
course he fucking does.
I love Palpatine though. He got the job done.
Well,
Like
he was the only person in the entire prequels that had any personality or drive.
he's my
Everybody else was just a
favorite.
boring turd.
He's my favorite Disney princess.
All right, let's put a pin in that to bring on Ardent Party and American Populist. Hello, friends. Happy 4th of July. You should be able to speak now. I don't have you muted.
Yeah, that's my own fault. Sorry.
That's okay.
Happy
Hello,
4th
American
as well.
Populist.
Happy up yours, King George Day. How you guys doing?
I do well. How about you, my friend? How are you?
I'm doing okay. In a significant amount of pain because I tore up my stomach muscles yesterday lifting,
Oh, no.
but it's really more of an irritation than it is anything else.
Your voice sounds familiar to me. Have I spoken to you before? Have you been at one of my live events?
I've never been at one of your live events. If my voice sounds familiar, it may be because it's being modulated by a significant amount of mucus in my forehead.
There's somebody I used to talk to or have met that your voice reminds me of. It might have been
Okay.
somebody at my camping trip last year, because there were some people that came in I didn't know well. I might be remembering one of them. But
Yeah,
anyway,
now
thank you for being here.
no problem. I'm happy to be invited. It's quite possible that you remember my voice from the last time we actually spoke on camera, which was a month ago or so.
Oh, that could be. That
Yeah.
could be too. Like I
I'm-
talk to hundreds of people on stream every year, so I can't categorize them all. I see George has his picture sorted out now. George, are you with us? Can you speak? Well, I don't know if he can speak or not. So let's
Are you
start with
talking
him.
to me again?
No, I was. Oh, hi, there you are. Hey,
Yeah.
George. Welcome to the stream, my friend. I know that you're not that you're not American, but you will live here in the near future.
I am an aspiring American, indeed.
Yes. American populist. Since you came on second, we're gonna wait. We're gonna start with Cinder. Cinder, I would like you to go first, and take a moment to collect your thoughts and tell us why you would celebrate the 4th of July, why you would celebrate anything about America or Americans now, and what you love about America that was. Tell us those things.
I love the story of the Protestant offshoot, particularly the Puritans, that they
Okay.
would be so rabidly into their pursuit of God and truth that they would rip themselves from their own tapestry of civilization and lay their hopes on pursuit of God, and that they would go to what is the stars at that point and try and make a go of it in a place where they could pursue God faithfully. And
It's very noble.
it's very noble. And and they have everything to lose, corporally speaking. And I miss that work ethic. And I work a lot.
Yeah.
I'm with you on the idle hands are the devil's playground type of thing. And I have a day job that I do, but I also, when I have downtime, I'll go around my tiny little town and find stuff to do.
Yep.
And I've been working on a cattle ranch as part of the fun. And all of the guys that I've worked for, that's not just the only job I've done. All the people I've worked for said it's really hard to find dependable people nowadays.
Of course it is.
And that's wild to me because I meet a lot of young men and I just don't know why they're not working. And I miss that in young American men. Because
Well, we'll get it back one day. We'll get it back because
I hope so.
This since like the 80s, there's been a big push to elevate spiteful mutants, to put Negroes of color and immigrants of failure and women into the workforce at every level as fast as possible. And there's even federal and corporate financial incentives to do so. That can't last. It's falling apart. We're already seeing it decay. And I think that young men, motivated men, are going to start filling the void as things begin to crumble. And I do think that there's a lot of danger there, of course. But I think that very soon we are going to see the natural white male dominance begin to assert itself in our country again. I
would settle for the constructive male dominance, period, because I feel like no matter what
you're just
color
saying
you
what
are,
I said with different words.
Well, perhaps, but I came up in the city and I went to, I grew up in the inner city and stuff like that, and so like I got a lot of friends who don't take idle time lightly, and they're
No, dude, I hear you. I'm not saying that everyone who isn't white is lazy and bad, or everyone who is white is like productive and good. I'm talking about group metrics only, not individual metrics. Individually, anyone could be productive or moral or a genius, but when you look at groups, as a group, it's WASP men who are the most productive, hardest workers, and have basically built everything in this country.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I'm missing the point on what you're saying, so I apologize because it's your stream.
That's okay. I'm just saying, like, anybody of any trait they can't control, right? Like whether maybe you grew up Muslim, or you grew up Jewish, maybe you are African American or Native American, what they call they used to call the Red Indians. People of different genetics can still be great men that contribute great things. It's just when you look at groups, we
Yeah,
are what we are.
I hear you.
So,
And okay, so the one thing then I do miss, or I forget the third category, but I miss only property owning men being able to vote.
yes,
I
that's very
miss
important.
that system. Like the people who are with something to lose, the people who are committed, the people with skin in the game, being the only ones voting, I think is just key to a generally successful world.
I think so too. So universal suffrage can take a hike. I don't like it. So you've talked a bit. Let's move on to American Populist. He was the second on. American Populist, will you please take some time to tell us what you would love and celebrate about the America or Americans that are now, and what you would celebrate about the America that was, or something that you romanticize about old America?
Well, something I celebrate about my country is that my ancestors have been here for probably hundreds of years. We originally came over from Ireland, but
okay.
We've been settling in the South for hundreds of years, and we're old stock South, Scots-Irish types.
Okay.
And I love the culture of the Old South, its culture and heritage. And my ancestors fought and built the Southern United States, and so I celebrate their victories and their accomplishments with my people. And so that always cheers me up on the 4th to remind me of what they've done for this country, despite the people who parasitically rule it now. And also, I love how the United States is still a very patriotic country. Most people don't really take that or understand that. Most countries are not very patriotic as the United States is. Like, you could go to some country in Europe and you won't see as many just of their national flags everywhere like you will today, or most days, or people who own trucks or something like that. And obviously, I love our father of the nation, George Washington. He was a pretty smart guy.
Yeah, he should have been king. He should have been the first king of America.
He should have been, but he was in too much of the Enlightenment ideals from France, probably at the time.
Yeah, it is what it is. That progressivism going to progressive. You know how it is.
But I really think it was like Thomas Jefferson and Paine who were the real subversive of our founding fathers. That's where all this ideas of universal suffrage and people, just every man being able to vote. That's where that originally came from. It was the Jeffersonians and the Democratic Republicans of the 1800s.
I think if you're going to let everyone vote, I think that having multiple tiered caucus groups would be good. Like, you would look at your poorest caste, your immigrant caste, and your uninvested class. They would be your lowest tiers of caucus. So maybe all of them together would only have a single vote or a single chance to express a written desire to whoever runs the local municipality or county, like the county mayor or whatever, or the executor of that municipality. They can present in official way their caucus's demands or decree or whatever, and then it's up to the local people to decide how to vote on that. But I don't think that all of those people should get equal votes of equal weight. But I am acceptant of listening to and giving caucus groups a voice, because if you don't, then they're just going to burn shit and break stuff when they're unhappy. So I do like the idea of there being at least a caucus voice in local politics. But not equal weight and not equal voting rights. I don't like that.
No, that just gives people who have no stake in the country deciding things that just these people in LA deciding the future for Alabama or Florida or something. Name another state, Wyoming, and their interests vary dramatically. And obviously, those people do not have the same. Most of those people do not have families. They're not very moral, upstanding citizens of this country. They're not very patriotic. And so that's enough of a reason for me to reject universal suffrage, or even allowing all men to vote who don't own property and actual stake in this country.
Yeah. Let me ask you the follow up then. What do you like about America now, or Americans now? Anything?
I like the beauty of our country, and I like that the old stock Americans like me are pretty patriotic, are pretty smart, pretty great
Oh,
people, pretty down to earth.
we segued. I actually asked you the opposite question. You started off by saying you like how America's patriotic and uses flags. I reversed that. What do you like most about the America that was? That was the question that you didn't answer. What do you like most about the America that was?
I like the pioneering spirit of just like settling and exploring the West, the Wild West, building these cities out of the desert like
Yeah.
Las Vegas or Phoenix or even LA or some of these cities that used to be great, but now are just pretty terrible cities. But I like the spirit of the old American South, exploring beyond the Appalachian Mountains in the 1700s. And
it takes strong men and women to say, we're going to take, this baby and this dog and this mule, and we're going to get into a wagon with some horses, and we're going to try to get as far as we can into the wilderness and then make a homestead. And I'm going to have, as the woman, I'm going to have as many babies as I can, because half of them are going to die. And then the man knows that half his children are going to die, and he might get killed by a bear or some kind of disease he's never heard of, trying to build a new way. That is some badass serious shit. And I don't think that pioneers get enough credit in the badass department. But that was some serious heavy shit they did.
No, it's very true. They had to go through terrible conditions on the Oregon Trail while there's such journeys out west to get free land and to settle the areas of the Great Plains states in the Southwest. And you couldn't be soft. It wasn't going to happen, And I really wish we had more of those men than we do now. But
yeah,
we're rebuilding, so
yeah, we are. We hope for the best. Let's go ahead and move to George now, Mr. Ardent Party. I know that technically you are not from the United States, but you do love the United States. So we're going to ask you these same questions. What do you love or celebrate or romanticize about the America that was? And in this current age, what would you love and celebrate about the country or the people of America now?
Well, the America that was is full of legendary figures. And it doesn't matter if those men were politicians, outlaws, or just warrior explorers. I mean, you had names like Teddy Roosevelt or Bat Masterson or Billy the Kid. I mean, these are names that have lived on forever and probably will live on forever. Even your warrior explorers, Lewis and Clark. These guys were badass. They carried 50 caliber air rifles with them. I mean, for the America that was, I mean, it's that spirit of screw this. I'm not happy where I am. I'm going west.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing that speaks to me right now, because right now I'm sitting in Eastern Canada, sick and tired of dealing with Trudeau telling me I don't have a right to do this, this, this. I mean, the last three things were no right to bodily autonomy, no right to private property, and no right to defend myself with a firearm.
Right.
All of that together, it just tells me, okay, well, the government here is basically my enemy, and I need to get the hell out.
Yep.
As far as the America that is, that codified constitution you guys have, with every single right being exactly enumerated and clear and considered to be not granted by the government, but protected because it's gifted by God.
Yes.
That's amazing.
That's very important. I like that too.
And I believe it was Cinder, though it may have been Populist, who mentioned Los Angeles and New York trying to control the rest of the country. One of the political mechanisms that you guys have that I absolutely envy as a Canadian is your electoral college. Here in Canada, we have 4 big cities that basically decide the fate of the entire country. And if someone in Toronto decides, oh no, we can't have handguns anymore because too many people are shooting themselves down the street on the corner, then hikers in Alberta in the Rockies aren't allowed to carry 500 magnums in case there's a bear. It's insane. So I mean, one of the big things like self-defense and castle doctrine. These are things that the Americans have that I really envy as well. And the last one's a bit of a funny one. The Junior 15, the JR-15 rifle, which is a 22 long rifle made to fit kids, or as I like to refer to it, the pedo preventer.
That's funny. I like that. That's a good one.
Yeah. So I mean, there's loads of stuff about, and I mean, I have American family members, so I've grown up with a bit of a different take on Americans because I've known a few personally.
Say again? Sorry.
Having grown up with American family members, I've got a bit of a different take than a lot of Canadians.
Oh, I got you.
So there's that friendly rivalry where one of my favorite jokes one of our comedians tells is America and Canada, well, we're bigger than you and we're on top. So if we were in prison, you'd be our bitch. But I mean, the gag is, or I mean, Robin Williams' joke, Canada is so nice. It's like, how did he put it? A really nice apartment right above a meth lab, that kind of thing. But I mean, one of the things I really don't like is, especially American comedians sometimes, I don't know if Colbert is American, but the anti-American attitude that a lot of your celebrities seem to have, it's weird. I mean, it seems to be a bit of a reflex from that American exceptionalism that Obama railed against. But by the same token, you guys really are the best country on this planet because you're the only one that still seems to be concerned with the welfare of your people in a documented way, in terms of a codified constitution, things like that.
That's good. What about, let me ask you something. As an outsider who wants to move here,
Yes.
do you think that despite the United States being the seat of the global empire of lies, and despite the broken evil thing it has become in the last 100 years, do you still think that it is the best choice for you to move, or are you just moving here because it's the closest? Or do you think there would be a better place to move?
I don't see there being a better place to move because nowhere else has that codified constitution that gives me rights the moment I attain citizenship.
Okay.
Anywhere else in the world, Britain, Australia had goddamn concentration camps, for Christ's sakes. Sorry if I'm swearing too much for YouTube. Let me know.
Oh, I don't mind. It's
Okay.
fine.
But I mean, Australia had legitimate concentration camps, and there's almost nowhere else where you weren't forced to pay for your own incarceration by the government. Here in Canada, that's how it worked under COVID. It's insane, and the removal of the right of choice is one of the things that really irritates me to no end. And to be honest, if I was in Australia, I'd still be trying to get to the States.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for answering. Thank you.
No worries.
I would like to talk now about the something that you brought up. You said you would have rights the moment you became official here. One of the issues that we have in the United States now is the corruption of all systems at every level have made it to where your rights really aren't protected anymore. They're just not. And in the Go Free method, we talk about anti-whiteism being the culminating sort of energy that has wanted to break us and destroy what we had. And one of the pillars that made this country great is you had multiple stems of governance that seemed, at least for the most part, even up until I would say when my grandparents or great-grandparents were young, it seemed like most people at the local and state level and in most smaller cities still upheld those values and would do what was right when they had power, whether they were a lawyer, a judge, a police officer, that kind of thing. That has changed since I was born. The way that municipalities do policing, the way that corporate prisons have taken over and heavily influenced rural areas to try to enslave as much of their population as they can in this corporate prison mess, Cinder and I touched on that briefly earlier. There are a lot of things in America that show me the people that control us at every level don't give a wet fart about any of the rights enshrined by the Constitution anymore. They just don't care. They maybe don't even know they exist. But one of the things we're going to have to fight really hard to do in America is to not just drain the swamp in DC. We're going to have to start local. We're going to have to start draining the swamp everywhere, getting the anti-whites out, because we don't have any protected rights anymore. Definitely not at a federal level. Definitely not at a state level in most states. And certainly most cities we don't. You look at how the mayors in all these most of these major cities are. They're like corrupt, petty children of aristocracy that are blowing through all of their family's holdings money to hire the most loyal mercenaries they can just to hold on to power. And they're just crushing their people under their heels. Like, that's basically every major city now. So we have a lot of darkness ahead of us. So you three talk about that. What do you think about that? What do you think about the ideas I just said? Do you agree or disagree? What do you think we can do about it? You guys talk about that.
I can speak to this a little bit because I moved to a very small town in Tennessee from a city. Yeah, from a city in Blue America.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say that, like, how deeply ingrained the city council is in the community is a roadblock. Great. It's a roadblock. So it's difficult.
I thought you meant, okay, go ahead.
It's difficult because, you know, it's an older community and there's definitely like micro politics happening, and it's going to be difficult because it you know, the people who got in here, who are sitting here on city council, are, you know, affluent and thereby leftist, and they hold on to ideas that are not reality because of their affluence.
The council are you talking about where you moved to, or the city you moved?
Yeah, I'm talking where I moved to. Yeah.
Okay.
And this might be the exception, not the rule, but you will run.
Probably not.
Well, the point is that when you move to a small town, if you do the urban flight thing into a rural area, know that you're going to be running into, you know, like 100 years of a tradition that's that is upheld by their affluence itself. And to Tuesday just said in the chat, Tennessee is packed with Southern Californians. Tennessee is packed with Ohioans. Like,
there's a lot of people from Ohio that have moved down.
The Ohio crowd is hard. Like, Ohio is our California, and they come down here to shit in our bed and leave us with the bill when it comes to the political stuff. And they're usually pretty well-to-do. In the area that I live in, there's a lot of Ohio money here, like big Ohio money. And this is their getaway. You know, this is their Utah, right?
Okay.
So there's some breaking that you're going to have to do. I don't think it would be as hard. Like, if you were trying to break in the city council in California, it wouldn't be as hard, or it would be harder to do that than it would be in Utah. But you're still going to be up for a fight. And that's what we're coming down to. Go ahead.
I was going to say, eventually, I think that as things start to get even worse, and trust me, they will. It doesn't matter who wins in 2024. Things are getting worse. As things start to get terrible, people in rural areas like where we live now are going to have to start doing something about it. Because right now in this area, like, I spent time with my family and our friends all weekend. Almost none of them talked at all about anything other than just talking points on Fox News or CNN. They just don't care. They just talk a little bit about politics. Oh yeah, you hear about that? No, you know, Putin, Zelensky stuff, and just coof stuff a little bit, and that was it. Most people here don't care. They care more about what kind of hunting they're going to do this fall than they give a shit about politics. Yeah. And I think that is good in a way, but it's hurting us because that lets these people from out of state come in here and weasel their way into PTAs and city councils and church groups and stuff.
Well, I can speak to that a little bit with this Ukraine-Russia thing, in that everyone, and I'm in a Bible study and I'm part of a Baptist church and this and that. So everybody's like on the face of everything based. But when we get into the conversation, they're like, man, I can't believe what Russia's doing, in the Ukraine. And I'm like, okay, well, let me lay it out for you. I did it last night at Bible study. Like this is the problem. Like I talk about NATO, talk about the GAE, talk about sexual deviancy and the profligation of that for the global world order and how important it is. And I'm like, okay, look at Russia. Like I'm not a fan of Putin.
Right.
Generally speaking, I'm not a fan of the KGB or communism or the system that he came up in. But if you look at the position they're in and where they stand religiously and culturally, civilizationally, it only makes sense to go stomp out Ukraine in these Russian ethnic regions.
Especially since there's been such a long history of not just GAE influence, but corruption of just the general criminal kind has been rampant in Ukraine for decades.
Yeah.
So it's a very horrible place that someone probably should try to straighten out. And if big chunks of it are ethnically Russian, well then, I mean, Putin's just destinying himself in Russia into where it's supposed to be.
Well, and those regions have been at war with their government since 2014. So people have a right to self-determination. I agree. Not a huge fan of Putin, not a huge fan of Ukraine. It's difficult to say, but 40 billion of our dollars went there and more is going there. So we should have a say in all this. And most, especially based, quote unquote, Protestant Christians have sort of the talking points that they're given by the media, which Fox News is a part of. Don't think that Fox News is not CNN. It totally is.
I think Fox News is not CNN. I wouldn't go that far, but I do think that they are owned by the same rich anti-white people who want to have a control group for the media. And I think that's sort of what Fox News Breitbart is. It's sort of like, hey, you're allowed to be a dissident and talk about the things that your grandfather was mad about a long time ago. We're allowed to have a little bit of that, but it's containment. I don't think it's the same as CNN. I think it's a little more insidious than that.
Well, fair enough. I won't argue because it's your podcast and I'm a guest.
No, you argue with me all you want.
No. I mean, your whole explanation, I think, supports the point that it's the microcosm, right? It's the controlled ecosystem of the issue du jour, right? Yeah. And you're either on this side or this side, but don't think outside of it. Don't ever think outside of it. So anyway.
Because if you think about why we are stymied with all the meme pathogens, oh shit, we have a Holly with us. Holly, it didn't make a sound. Normally it makes a sound when people join. It might have made it and I missed it. We have a Holly waiting backstage. Ardent Party, American Populist, you've been kind of quiet because me and Cinder have been going back and forth. Would you mind if I bring on Holly now?
By all means. I'm Canadian, so I'm just politely keeping my silence.
Hey, Holly, I pulled you in. Sorry if you were waiting a long time.
Oh, no, I wasn't. I was just waiting for the conversation to lull before I put a message in that I was sitting here waiting.
Well, I'm a Southerner and Cinder moved here, so if just me and him could talk forever. So
I'm a Yankee carpetbagger, and this belongs to me.
You're not a carpetbagger. You're not a carpetbagger. Do you even know what that means?
Vaguely, but
okay.
I use it a lot around here, and people get like that weird sidelong laugh at me.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Anyway, Holly, thank you for showing up today. Happy 4th of July. You also are a Canadian. I like your fallen leaf picture. Is that your version of the upside down American flag?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just basically it's representative of the fact that the heart of our nation is on the ground and almost on life support. So, but it's still there.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you the same questions. I don't think you're in the process of moving to America, though, are you?
No, that's one of the things that I do struggle with as a proud Canadian. And I think the reason why I'm struggling the most with it is because I am in Western Canada. I am in the last conservative bastion of
You don't have to
Sim.
sell me on Canadian pride.
Yeah.
Y'all burned down DC once. That's pretty based.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like I'm proud of what my country has accomplished over the years, and I'm proud of being a Canadian and the beautiful country that I do live in, and the wonders of the nature that surrounds me where I live.
Uh-huh.
I'm far enough away from Ottawa and from Vancouver to not be affected a lot by the woke mind virus that has been funneling through that, but it does break my heart that the large cities here are falling to the, I guess, to the mob. I mean, we just elected a openly extremely woke female mayor that her first thing to do was to start implementing all of the wonderful woke things that destroy other cities. And over her short term,
instead of using woke, I recommend you say anti-Western or anti-white, because woke is their word, and we shouldn't use their language. We should use ours and assign them punishing terms to display their evil.
Okay, well,
I recommend anti-white and anti-Western because I think that's a much more powerful thing to say.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just I would say anti-Western because it's anti-Western Canadian and anti-Alberta.
There you go.
Right. So it's
the right direction.
It's one of those things where it's like everything that has built Alberta to its greatness, becoming the the economic driver of pretty much the entire country with our oil and gas industry. Mm-hmm. Our lovely mayor came forward and said she wanted to make it as uncomfortable as possible for oil and gas industry to operate within her city. And I'm just like, okay, so what about all of the thousands and thousands, well, tens and hundreds of thousands of jobs that rely on that, and the billions of dollars that we send off?
I think that eventually, if there are not good, strong men that are willing to just walk up to people like that and put a bullet in them, we're not going to get out of this mess.
I disavow.
I think that eventually push is going to come to shove, and the people who care about what's right and what is just are going to have to drop brass, and they're going to have to start stacking bodies. Because
can we just go back to punching people in the face first?
No, that's not going to work.
I just want to go back to booing, like being able to boo.
Oh,
can I boo?
The thing is, though, you can't. The reason why I say such bold statements like that is I have seen in these horrible cities that the depravity that people just casually ignore and don't care about. Like all this pride stuff, all this drag queen story hour stuff, the way that prisons work, the way that the cops have become just these just evil mercenaries of mayors. Like this shit is so sick and people just don't care. So cities, in my opinion, are gone. And when smaller cities and townships are getting mayors like this cunt you just talked about, they don't like you're going to just have to start telling these people no 145 caliber slug at a time because they can't be allowed.
Disavow.
No, I'm sorry. No,
I don't necessarily disagree. Sorry. No, you guys go ahead and disavow.
Yizz is right. I say disavow because it's funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right in that in the city, like I used to live in New York City, right? And like there are people getting popped there for no reason. Like I used to live in Minneapolis and people are getting popped there for no reason. Chicago, LA, same thing. People are getting popped there for no reason. And it gets like nothing's getting done about it.
Nothing.
It's
getting worse too.
So
it's getting worse.
We have to take up this position of violence. And yeah, it's going to get used against us, but they're coming for you anyway. Like at some point, I think I was talking to a friend last night, and in 10 years, like you remember the Sam Hyde skit state enforced homosexuality. I think it's going to be a thing in 10 years. I actually do think it's going to be a thing. Like, if you don't have a homosexual experience.
That law in California that Newsom pushed through that said that it was an addendum to that law that had forced diversity requirements in every company bigger than like 100 people or whatever.
Yeah.
The one that said so many people on the board have to be POC, have to be non-Christian, have to be non-male,
women specifically.
Here's the thing. I think in 2019 or 2020, Newsom pushed through an amendment to that said if you're white, you can bypass that and keep your position by openly declaring yourself homosexual or transgender.
And how long until you have to prove it?
As long as you're on your knees, we don't care. That's what that shit says.
But how long? Because we know this is all a humiliation ritual. How long until you have to prove that to a board of government electors that say, exactly, we can confirm he's homosexual, and if he wasn't, he is now.
It's like you have to go in front of the Fellatio Performance Committee for them to deem if you're actually a faggot or not.
Exactly.
Yeah, that brings a whole other level of kiss the ring.
Yeah. But it's the point I'm making about until people are going to drop brass on this, that the way that we have now to keep the poison out isn't working. Not enough of our people care. Like, I'll go and I'll get in somebody's face at the university. I'll go and get in somebody's face at a local church. People tell me I shouldn't do that. People tell me I should just write an email or say something to their employer or go above them and talk to the board. And I'm just like, if the people around here are that weak and that cucked already and don't realize what's happening, then an army, an entire sea of these anti-whites are going to just move in and take over, and it's going to be too late by that point. Like, there's going to have to be some dissident movement that is going to physically remove, and I don't necessarily just mean with bullets, but start physically separating these anti-whites from our little rural areas. And that's why I talk about building community, building parallel everything, parallel churches, parallel, I don't know, pizza delivery, parallel bookstores. We have to start making parallel things to offer people that we keep the anti-Western agenda out of, or we're not going to have anything. Because trust me, if I could get people here together larger than 3 people at a time, I would have already done some serious shit here. But it's just nobody cares. Nobody knows. And the sad thing is, until this gets either so bad, which I don't want it to get bad, until it gets so bad that people don't have a choice but to start caring and getting physical, what can we do in the meantime? We can prepare for when the eventual physicality happens, and all the while be building parallel, building communities, and hoping for the best that day doesn't come. But I think that day's going to come pretty soon no matter what we do.
Yeah, I'm an old school guy, and to me, violence should always be the last option, but it's always got to be an option.
Yeah, it always has to be there.
Yeah, and
I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I think a lot of what's happening throughout the Western society is we're all so comfortable, and that until that comfort confrontation ratio gets out of balance enough that people are forced to go, crap, this has been happening for so long and I've been ignoring it. Until we get to that point, I don't think a lot of like the parallel stuff will absolutely work. I absolutely agree with that idea because it's competitive business and it makes sense. Yeah. There's like hiring groups and things like that are already doing that sort of stuff, like unwoke.hr. Go ahead.
I was going to say real quick to that. I think that it's not just that people are too comfortable. I think that people are intimidated. People have been derided, besmirched, shamed, beaten, despised, and spit on socially for so long that there's not really any fighting spirit left for men to pass on to sons. And it's getting really bad now that even in a place like where I live, that kind of thing isn't as common as it used to be. So
Yeah.
I think it's not just the comfort. I think it's the shame and the derision and the constant anti-white meme pathogens that are forced into us by government and preachers and cartoons and video games that make us think that we don't have anything good to care about and we have nothing to have pride in and we have nothing to fight for. I think that is worse than the comfort, but that could just be the way I see it. I don't know.
Yeah,
No, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Holly.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, both of you have excellent points, and I do believe, like, in my personal life, so this is of course anecdotal, is the group of people that are so comfortable economically, financially, family-wise, living situations, that they just can't see the issues. I mean, the big thing with the Freedom Convoy up here is it's very easy for those type of affluent people to quickly dismiss that, because, I mean, number one, they've been propagandized so much and bought into the narrative that it's just a small, tiny group of insignificant people that they're basking in their comfort and looking down their noses, such as the bourgeoisie did before that revolution. The other thing is the lower classes, the ones that do have an issue with the situation that's happening right now, especially in Canada, have been so beaten and so cucked and so talked down to by friends, neighbors, family, and have been so talked down to by every single faction of our mainstream media that they feel hopeless. And I do admit that until the convoy happened, I was 100% defeated. I, had horrible nightmares of maybe just towing the line and just shutting up and locking that part of myself away that questions everything and has always done that, and just been towing the party line, because then at least I could have, a good life and not be all upset and just drink my, Pinot Grigio at night and complain about my husband.
Yeah.
But when that convoy happened, and it did wake up thousands and thousands of people to, holy shit, everyone's lying to us. The pressure, the pushback did start going, because people did not feel alone. And I think that's the number one thing that that completely 100% peaceful, non-violent action did for Canadians. That
stuff can be effective and good. Like, here's my problem though.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to large scale activism at the federal level, there's always going to be media agents. There's always going to be federal informants involved. And there's also, you got to keep in mind, most people are of the lowest caste, and they do not want to have to fight. They do not want to be inconvenienced. So the best thing you can hope for with these big populist movements and ideas is to just get some more people who do have that spirit of fighting and doing something alerted. Like, that's really the only thing that they're good for, because until we have elites and leaders that can actually care about our side of things, that have billions of dollars and connection to large companies and international stuff, until we have rich people that are willing to capitalize on and use a populist movement, it only serves our enemies right now. I don't think it really helps us a lot. It only helps getting other people aware and noticing what's going on. And that's like, what, 1 out of 1,000 people, 1 out of 20,000 maybe? I don't know.
I think it was a lot more than that. When that moved across the country and people were just being fed the narrative, but then would hop on the live streams or hop on the alternative media and see what was actually happening compared to the actual narrative. It woke a lot of people up, people that I never thought would wake up. And I'm talking about like activists, anti-Western Canada activists and all that shit. But it just the normal people that just go on their day-to-day lives and just follow the narrative because it's easier, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of those people woke up and went, holy shit, this is not what I just watched. Yeah. What they're telling me, what I'm reading in the newspaper, this is not what I just watched. Yeah. So it did wake up a lot of people, and it did bring a lot of strength and power to the hey, what the fuck movement. That's what I call it.
I mean,
Right.
I would argue that movement doesn't have any power yet. That movement is similar. That right now is sort of similar to the Gamergate SJW movement of about 10 years ago, where it was, look at all this awful corruption, look at all this Marxist shit, look at all this anti-male, anti-white shit, look at all A, B, C, D, and E, and a bunch of people took notice of that and was like, hey, that's really fucked up. How did this get into, like, you know, companies and newspapers and stuff like that? How did that get? And people noticed all of that, but nothing stopped. It didn't change anything. We still are where we are now. So I understand that we all, myself included, we want to believe that if just enough people know, then something will happen. I don't believe that anymore. I don't. That has been beaten out of me now. Because for the last like 30 years that I have tried to care and vote and get people to care and vote and do something, it just ain't happening. And it keeps getting worse. And now look at how corrupt and blatantly, nakedly corrupt all voting and all politics is. What are all of these aware people going to do? Who are they going to vote for? What are they going to do with their wallet? Well, they still have to have money in their wallet, so they're still going to have to do what their jobs tell them. They still want to live a comfortable life and make a good life for their children, so they're not going to rattle cages. They're not going to do anything risky or dangerous. And it's just, I'm tired of acting like populism and mass awareness movements are going to do anything. I just don't think they are. I think that the only thing that's going to get us out of this is
disavow.
Is dedicated people building something new and positive.
Yeah.
It's not just about negative stuff and pointing the finger. We have to start giving people a viable alternative to the cancerous system that is. That's why I'm trying to put together what I'm doing, but it just ain't going anywhere. It's hard to find anybody that, let alone wants to get involved with parallel building, but has the money and time to do it. So I'm just... Maybe I'm just frustrated and blackpilled because I've spent the last 5 years trying to get people motivated to do stuff with me, and not even my own fucking husband wants to. So, well, whatever.
I think you're right in that we need to change tack, to use a sailing term, if you're affluent like I am. And
I'm not affluent.
And pretty and single, by the way, ladies.
How are you living in Tennessee and sailing? Come on now.
Well, because I made a decision, right? It was either Martha's Vineyard or not be murdered at night by the gay mafia. But the point is, disavow. The point is, there was something you said earlier, Yizz, in that why aren't the affluent funding stuff like this? Why aren't there guys like Peter Thiel? We know Elon Musk. I consider a Luciferian, but more on our side than not.
But I'm sorry, Luciferian?
Yeah.
Can you? I'm not as literarily educated as you seem to be. What does this mean? What do you mean exactly when you say that? What's that mean?
So Luciferian is essentially, at the very foundation of it, you are a Satanist. But Luciferian is more nuanced. It is the worship of man. It is the belief that man can achieve godhood through a series of steps that vary from faction to faction.
So is Luciferian a synonym of Faustian?
It can be, because Faust, if you know from the Marlowe, did make a pact with Satan through Mephistus, or whatever his name was. I forget. Mephistopheles, thank you. Yes. That he would know everything at the cost of his own soul. So the thing with Elon is like, hey, we're going to do the neural link. We're going to achieve godhood through acts of man, acts of science, acts of faith towards anything but man. Gotcha. But in the interim, he could be an ally in that nobody is funding anything that is even remotely right wing at the moment, or neo-reactionary or conservative or anything like that. Even the movies are bad because they're so pro-left that you can't even be centrist anymore.
Yep.
But all that stuff is failing as business products, right? You can't sell a movie that's preaching to you and telling you how big a bastard you are. That's not a product that people want to buy. So the question then becomes, who are the patrons of the right wing at this point? That's a big conversation, I think, that needs to be had and is sort of being had. If any of you are into fiction writing, nonfiction writing, or art or anything like this, at IM_1776 has just released a publication that is dealing with all that stuff. Incredibly interesting. Check them out on Twitter.
Okay.
I'm working on a video talking about it because I myself am in the filmmaking industry, and I just want to make regular films, and I do want to make the correct stuff. I don't want to be anti-white.
Hilariously,
Yeah.
good art that is devoid of politics is like the most right-wing art you could make.
Right? Exactly.
It's like,
and
you tell a real story about real things, about God and heroism and virtue and conquering evil, and that's the most right-wing thing you can make.
Yeah,
And you don't
not
even mention politics.
not lying is the new right-wing extremism.
Yeah, not being a dirty liar is apparently being a right-wing extremist.
Just to address Cinder's point about films, I was thinking while he was talking about how so much film is aimed at the left, I was thinking, yeah, it's either aimed at the left or it's essentially politically neutral.
Not aimed
And-
at, created by.
Well, that too, yeah. But I was thinking in terms of, say, John Wick. John Wick is a really good movie that has no leftist politics in it, as far as I can recall on a quick think. But it also had nothing to do with conservatism other than the fact that somebody killed his dog and he went off his head. I'm absolutely behind that.
I do think that there
Well,
are.
It's
There
it's
are-
the idea of
It's
defending
relatable.
your own. That's what I'm
It's,
getting at.
it's relatable, right?
Yeah.
And the stuff that the left is putting out right now is not relatable.
No, let me explain to you why movies like that and the Joker movie that I love are also anti-white and anti-Western. Because this comes from, you call them leftists, I call them anti-whites, but these people make movies that say, look, hey, white people, hey, young, angry white men, this is what you are allowed to be in society. You can hate yourself. You can be a psychotic, mentally, emotionally broken freak. You can be a lunatic, a gunman. You're allowed to be a Nazi. You're allowed to be a wife beater. You're allowed to be a criminal. It's not showing young men, especially whites, any positive, constructive, real things to emulate and possibilities they can be and be lauded and cheered and be reflected by the media around them. That's why this stuff is anti-white, guys. It's the meme pathogens. It's the purposeful sabotaging of young white men's minds of saying, oh, wow, I love the Joker movie. I love John Wick. I love the Viking movie. I love A, B, C, D, and E. It's showing them if you want to be heroic, you can be a criminal, a murderer, a slaver, a psychopath, etc.
Vengeful or violent, yeah.
Yeah, like it's only showing them and what they are allowed to be in this ugly narrative. And that's why I say that everything is, and like, again, these products, they're not made for leftists. Leftists don't even watch this shit anyway. They don't care. They go jerk off with each other and watch Vouch or whatever. This stuff is made by these enemies for us and our children to sabotage us. That's why it's been ever since the KGB came up with this. And this idea came from the Frankfurt School, after the Long March. The ideas even come from before the Long March of all of this. Oh, God, just don't get me started on bio-Leninism and all this other shit. Like, all this media stuff. I know that you mean well, George. I know. But it's insidious. It is very insidious how evilly anti-white all the media, all the video games have become. They don't show us real heroism, real narratives, and real satisfying models that young men can aspire to be anymore. Almost
that's
nothing
true.
produced shows that. And I know I talked a lot. I'm sorry. But
Hey, it's your stream. Go for it.
No, and you can just look at the people who produce these media contents and see what they're all about and their political agendas, and that should just tell you everything you need to know about these people who produce these movies, even if they might be less just absolutely terrible and off the chain like most of them. Like, I recently saw Elvis and I thought it was an okay movie, but there's obviously pause in it that was specifically aimed at white Southerners and the culture of America in the 50s and 40s. They did attack it in that way.
Yeah.
So even the things that are supposedly they're neutral, are not neutral. They're always against us. Because again, that's the people who make them. That's what they intend. So
It's anti-human, and I recently joined Twitter.
That was a mistake.
Oh, why did you do that?
Look, I had been off for so long. There are reasons for it, and that's an issue for a different stream. But I joined it, and everything, like, they force you to pick like the 6 things that you're interested in. So of course I picked the 6 things that I'm least interested in, thinking it won't be offensive. And one of them was celebrities. And the whole like suggested tweets were celebrities talking shit on the 4th of July, at 4th of July, or hashtag 4th of July, talking about why won't you let me kill a child in the womb? Like, hey, just shout out to America. You suck. That was the uniting theme. And if it's so demoralizing, even for someone like me who's pretty strong in my beliefs, and you're not going to move me on that, to scroll through that looking for stuff I want to see, I'm seeing like 90-10 stuff I don't want to see.
Yeah, it's demoralization. That's why I think our enemies went for media and book production first, because they knew if they could control the language and how people spoke, they could control the future. Because language is the toolbox that we use to build ideas that are in us for other people, and that the way we use to build ideas together between more than one person. So they knew if they could get to that and shape that and strip away all the meaning it had to us, and then either let it die or assign it new meaning, then they would control the narrative. They would control us. And I think that's what they've done in the last 100 years. It's exactly that. And that's why we're up against some evil shit, some evil, insidious shit.
Well,
if you want evil and proof for that, Gavin Newsom, like yesterday or whatever, said how he's going to try to legalize gay sex between minors and adults. I mean, literally just like pushing to legalize pedophilia openly. So that should tell you about who our enemies are right there.
Yeah, they are satanic, anti-white pedophiles. And,
well, and you mentioned evil and insidious, and of course, Twitter is part of the conversation. So, but it wasn't that long ago that Facebook got busted experimenting with the psyches of their users.
Yep.
And I don't necessarily believe those experiments ever stopped. They may have migrated to other places. TikTok is a great example of psychological warfare from the Chinese perspective. In China, TikTok is almost completely presenting engineering, like different industrial videos, things like that. When I first started using the YouTube Shorts, that was a lot of what I was getting, was fairly scientifically based, things like that. And as time went on, I started to notice, oh, well, now I'm getting nurses dancing in the middle of COVID, or like all these weird, the stuff that Libs of TikTok was reporting. And I just stopped using YouTube Shorts altogether. I don't think I've watched one other than one that was presented that had either Joe Rogan or Jordan Peterson or somebody else I'd actually be interested in hearing what they had to say. Other than that, in months. And I honestly think Twitter, the brief exposure I had to it, before I ended up saying, okay, screw you, you're not going to let me post because I said something you don't like, I'll just shut my account down. Because of that little bit of exposure made me see that, yeah, I was getting a lot angrier on Twitter than I was on any other social media. And I really think it was because the algorithm presents things to you to try and get that sort of reaction.
Yeah, it's engineered to keep you on there for the longest time possible.
No.
I know, just teasing.
And to release the most amount of dopamine possible, and also, of course, hating your enemies and making you angry is part of that, to keep you hate watching or engaging.
Well, I've got a bit of a white pill. I have to I'm going to step off in a second here, but I want to leave you with this because I'm female and I want to make everyone happy.
Yeah, there's that agreeableness.
Exactly. I have noticed that we all know Daily Wire and how they want to take over and parallel societies, et cetera, et cetera. I've noticed that the movies and specials that they have released and put their dollars and advertising behind have all included incredibly strong, competent women as their main characters. And I mean, I watched Run, Hide, Fight. I haven't seen the other ones that came out, but that was something that, I don't know, maybe because my focus is on women and women's happiness and how to save that portion of our population from going absolutely batshit crazy. Yeah. But it was a nice realization for me that this horrible, misogynistic group of evil white men were producing movies that featured strong, capable, yet feminine female characters that when faced with, extreme adversity, they use what skills, were given to women in order to prevail over their enemies. So to me, it's nice to see that, and just watch the kind of turning of the tide in that way, because in my lifetime, I've watched female characters go from just an accessory with tits to you got to be a strong, independent woman. You don't need no man, as the quartering says, to bitter old harpy, or jumping onto now you have to be incredibly powerful and extremely overpowered as a superhero as a woman and show absolutely no femininity or no, excellent qualities that women are.
Like
so I just
before they want women to be homosexual men. That's what they want them to act like and be like.
Yeah, and not even successful homosexual men.
Yeah.
So that's my little white pill. Like I enjoyed Run, Hide, Fight. I mean, with all its issues that it had with plot holes and special effects and stuff like that, I found it an enjoyable movie. And the main character, she was an amazing, young, cute, kick-ass girl. So that's just me.
Well, I'll bite my tongue about my my ideas about Daily Wire and the people behind all of that.
Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. It's just something to reach out for, a straw to grasp onto.
Well, Holly, since we're getting towards the end of the stream here and you have to go, I've already shared your channel link in all the chats. How about you shill yourself and invite people to come visit you on the next thing you're going to do?
Oh, yeah, for sure. My channel mainly, like I said before, is focusing on women's happiness, especially from the perspective of someone that did live the feminist ideal, and it made me more miserable than anything in life. I have a lot of experience in that side, but I also now have a lot of experience in what actually it means to be a woman and to move through the world as a strong, independent woman that does need a man and enjoys the company of one. So my next video coming up here, I'm actually recording this afternoon, is going to be about traditional, the trad wife thing that I've been seeing around, and the fallacies in that I've been seeing. Nothing very heady or very deep, just a grandma talking about things that I'm seeing happening in the world. I'm also active on Twitter. I'm not very spicy or anything like that. I'm considered acceptable in the views. But yeah, so follow me on Twitter there. I also have an Instagram that I very rarely post on, but if you want to see my face, that's me. Yeah, so that's me. And I should say too, I'm only 20 subscribers away from hitting that magical 500.
Oh, good.
So yeah, so I'm super excited about that. It's been a long trudge, but it's still moving.
Well, thank you for coming on today. I appreciate it. You're always welcome to be a guest on any of the streams that I do. If you want to do a one-on-one stream together again one day, or set up something where we talk about related issues together, I'm glad to do that too. Thank you for being part of my community, and I hope you have a great night, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Yes, for sure. And God bless America. Happy July the 4th. America the beautiful, the brave. It's something for all countries to look up to. So get your shit together.
Amen. Amen, sister.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Well, let's go ahead and move to American Populist here. There were a couple of people that said they might jump on around 7:30, so we're going to linger a little bit longer to see if they show up. So we're going to go ahead and start saying our goodbyes to people and let them shield themselves. So we'll start with American Populist. American Populist, are you a content creator or just a participator?
No, I am a small content creator. I also work with the AP organization. We are doing some pretty good activism, I think, for Zoomers in my generation, actually putting our words into action. But I do make content. My channel is just American Populist. I also have a Twitter account under the same name.
Are you involved with DC Perspective or Prudentialist?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Because I've had them on my channel before, and Big Nick, he comes on here sometimes too. He's a Zoomer. He does political stuff. He's a hoot.
No, yeah,
if you would like, you can link your channel here in the private chat, and I'll put it in all the chats for everybody.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Sure.
Is it so? Are you a small content creator or are you a small content creator?
I'm a small content creator. Me too.
I see what you did there, Cinder.
Yeah, you like that? That's a theater thing for all of you.
You did it. You did it good. You did it good. That Cinder, he's a good boy. He's a good boy. Anyway, let's see. I still don't see the link. You have to.
I have to sign in to Entropy.
Okay, sorry.
He's doing a lot.
It's taking a second. Sorry.
That's all right. While we're doing that, we're going to entertain the only paid chat we got today.
Oh, good.
And it's by Cinder, who is a member of the panel here today. Thank you, Cinder, for the $10 US. I do appreciate your money, my friend. And he says, call Cinder a Yankee carpetbagger. I'm not calling you that, you Yankee carpetbagger.
Oh, there it is. Oh, it feels so good. So warm in my belly.
Okay, I sent in the private chat.
That's all right. All right. The link that I'm sharing right now in chat is to American Populist channel. I also love DC Perspective, John. He's a fun guy, and I do my best to listen to his content when I can. There we go. Okay, and over on Odyssey. There we go. Okay, it's all the chats there. Anything else you want to say before you head out?
I will be on Jay Burden's channel tomorrow, so if you guys know who that is, he's another small Zoomer content.
Okay.
My sphere. So if you guys want to check me out, I will be on his channel tomorrow around 4 o'clock.
What time zone?
And
Eastern time.
Can you tell me the name of where that will be again, please? I didn't catch it.
That's on Jay Burden's channel.
Jay Burden, like a heavy burden?
Jay, hang on,
I'm just curious
to find his name. I know he's another small guy who's coming up in our sphere.
Okay, no problem.
I believe it's BURDEN, but I'm not 100% on that.
Of course, it's getting any problems now.
Yeah, that's a lot of YouPorn links that you gotta.
Don't be like that.
Sorry, I can't.
Come on, us men of culture like X Hamster.
You degenerates. You degenerate carpetbagger. I'm just teasing. Hey, one of my 7:30 people showed up here.
Well, Lady of Charlotte has spelled it BURDEN.
Yes.
Yeah, that's his channel.
Yeah, he's had on Prudentialist and Thomas 777, so I'm sure he's good people. All right. Speaking of, we're going to say goodbye to American Populist. Thank you for being on here, my friend. And
thanks for inviting me on.
We're going to bring on No White Guilt Clips. Hello.
Okay.
Can you hear me, friend? Uh-oh. I don't know if he can speak.
I was actually going to say my goodbyes as well, actually.
Please do. We are at that time in the show. We'll go ahead and move to Ardent Party. Ardent Party, I just put your link in all the chats.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And go ahead and tell people about your channel and where they can find you.
My channel has been going since about early January. I started off doing a live stream, which has evolved into basically an eternal AMA. which was actually the intent. I kind of want to do a bit of an advice, text in, call in sort of deal. I also now have a recurring slot on the Sultans of Chatelet podcast on Saturdays,
Okay.
which I'm very happy about. I have a great time with those guys.
Good.
My channel is actually nudging 50. I'm sitting at 49 subscribers, so that's, to me, that's a big deal. I know
You're
it's
getting there. You're getting
yeah,
there.
yeah. The biggest platform I have seems to be Getter. I'm over 350 followers on there.
Oh, good.
And I've recently managed to boomer myself into an understanding of Discord. So
Okay.
I have quite a bit of interaction there as well.
Okay, good.
The
Do you
content.
communicate with me there?
I'm sorry?
I said, do you communicate with me on Discord? I forgot.
I don't think I do, but I will hunt you down.
I'm in the cabal. You can just join
Okay.
Oozaloo's cabal, and you can get my name from there. That's the
Okay,
fastest, easiest
the
boomer
next
way
time
to
I
do it.
see that link, then I'll jump on that.
Okay.
Really quick, sorry, from the chat, Bertie Bassett has asked,
Good old Bertie
Sultans of
Bassett.
Chatelet. Is that correct?
Yes, that is spelled
yes.
exactly right.
The
Yes.
Sultans of Chatelet. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we are.
They're guys who mostly do video comments on the Lotus Eaters podcast. And
Oh, okay.
yeah.
That's meta.
So I've kind of been drawn into their vortex because they needed a token ginger, and I was the only one available.
Well, I wish you the best with that. Thank you for being here today and
Oh.
always being around. You've been a long-time supporter of the channel. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And
No
White Guilt. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
One last thing. I just wanted to talk about the type of content I do. I do a daily video, and I generally try to make it relevant to both the anti-Western stuff, the going free stuff.
Good.
Though I don't generally couch it in the lexicon of the going free movement. Though I do.
Like I said, saying anti-Western is pretty close. So if you use that, and as long as you make the tone of this is not about an ism against another ism. This is about a bunch of evil people that want to destroy our civilization by sickening and weakening our people. Like that's basically the whole tone that you need to have.
Yeah, I would describe myself as firmly entrenched in the culture war.
Okay.
But
we look forward to hearing you prove it on Sultans of Chatelet.
Yeah, I'll try to catch you Sultans of Chatelet. That sounds fun. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, thank you for being here tonight.
Videos,
yep.
my daily, I'll get through this, I swear. My daily videos, I generally try to do something fairly related to current events and or the principles of traditional masculinity. Things like duty, honor, obligation.
Excellent.
Because I think that's the sort of wisdom that needs to be passed along. So anyway,
I agree.
That's it.
I think that's wonderful. That's great.
And thanks again for having me on, Yizz. I really appreciate it. I have a blast every time I get a chance to talk.
You're welcome. You're always friendly. I like talking to you. You're always around in the chat. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great week. And I'll try to catch you on Sultans of Chatelet one day. That sounds fun.
Okay.
Now,
if I recall correctly, they usually start at 9 Eastern time on Saturday morning for you guys.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Okay. You all have a good night. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye. Now, no White Guilt clips. Can you speak?
Yes.
Excellent. Hello, my friend. Welcome to the stream. Happy 4th of July.
Thank you. Fashionably late as always. Happy Independence Day to everyone. Just wanted to say hi.
Thank you. Thank you. While you're here, I don't know if you caught the beginning of the stream. I know you're just getting off work, but I want to ask you what I ask everyone that's been on today. What in this sorry state that America's in today, I would like you to tell us one thing that in your opinion is worth celebrating Americans and America for today, and a thing that you think original America, old-timey America from like 200 plus years ago is worth celebrating. Anything
I think
come to mind?
Yes. The inventive spirit of Americans. Such as Thomas Edison, I believe he alone had over 1,000 patents in his life, from telegraph to the light bulb to the printing press. And so many Americans like him. He embodies that spirit, that can-do attitude of the work ethic that Americans used to have.
A lot of us
And
still do, but yeah.
yeah,
that
the
old
real
wasp Puritan work ethic.
yeah, I think that's something that's worth celebrating, and something I'm proud of.
Good. And what about old-timey original America? Anything in particular you love about that you think's worth celebrating?
The wigs, I think they're cool. The hats, pilgrim hats.
All right. Anything you want to say or shill while you're here? You have moderator. You can put your own link in the chat, or it'll be easier for me to do that for you right now.
Oh, that's fine. You know where to find me. No white. It's I'm at up YTE UPWHITEY on Twitter, and No White Guilt Clips everywhere else.
Yep.
Now, don't let the name mislead you. I make clips of No White Guilt.
You also make clips of other people sometimes too, but it's mostly just Jason. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and Yizz. Those are the only two words, in my opinion.
Oh, well, you're too kind. You're too kind, my friend. Thank you so much. Thank you for popping on here to say howdy. We are just wrapping up here, so we're going to go ahead and ride out. Cinder, you're batting clean up. Is there anything you want to talk about or advertise or shill while we're talking about stuff?
Yeah, I want to sort of ask if anybody believes in the mud flood theory, and I want to dive into that as deeply as we can go with the remaining time, which is a joke, by the way. I just want to say that I work with the Iron Age Archive. I do work with the Iron Age Archive, and that is a subsidiary of Jeff McNukes from the Asian Capitalists podcast or YouTube channel that turned into Dorman Dynasty when he started going traditionalist. He's now Orthodox Christian and just diving into the whole fight for the right for the West to exist.
Yep.
And I do that. You can find me nowadays at Cinder Mountain on Twitter and behind the scenes in a lot of different communities wherein I met Yizz. Yep. Just trying to make a go of it.
Give me just a second. I'm trying to get to your Twitter real quick so I can share that.
Ooh,
there we go.
Yeah.
I got to your Twitter. I'm going to put that in all the chats as well. All right. So you got Iron Age Archive there, and we've got the link to his Twitter in all the chats. And that's it today, everybody. Thank you for showing up and sharing everything. No more links. No more people coming on. We are done. So is there anything the two of you would like to say or celebrate before we say our goodbyes and leave?
I just want to celebrate the possibility of creating a community and going forward.
Me too.
I'm super psyched. I've met a lot of good people, and I am more white-pilled than I am any other pilled. I'm almost no-pilled at this point because the sheer actuality of basking in the natural vitamin D of my likewise people is enough.
Good. And I know where you live in Tennessee. It's nice there. It's a nice place.
It is. And I know where you live, and it's also nice there.
It is. Let's keep it nice. What do you say? All right.
Yeah.
And No White Guilt Clips. He was one of the guys that came and visited us at the picnic that you came to. So
good. Wow.
So he was there as well.
Did he get a pork chop?
Everybody did.
Oh, they're so good.
They are. Well, thank you too for being here, and most importantly, thank everybody for helping this channel be a possibility. A big thank you to those of you who financially support, like the two of you here present on the stream. Thank you for those of you who share the links, and especially thank you to No Pot Guilt Clips here, who actually clips stuff. That's amazing. Thank you to those of you who share on social media, and those of you who do care about helping my voice and all of the things that I care about grow. It's important that you tell your friends and family about content creators like me. Word of mouth is the best way to help small content creators grow and get traction. So tell your friends and family, tell your coworkers, share a link or two, invite them to watch a stream or something with you if you can. That's a great way to help small content creators grow. Thank you guys so much. We will be back with, I think, Don the Pleb next Monday night? I don't remember. Let me check. One of the usuals is the main guest next Monday night. Let me pop open the schedule here and I'll tell you.
Is that Don the Pleb show a closed invite show?
No, I try to get one higher profile than me content creator for each Monday, and then just
Sure.
my friends like you and other small time content creator movers and shakers. I try to
Sure.
get on one other content creator a week, and then just our friends and buddies and stuff. And sometimes I double up and have 2 or 3 when that can happen, but usually I can't get enough people interested on the same day.
Huh.
And for some reason, this WordPad file is taking forever to open. What is wrong with you, Windows? An RTF is like the simplest file there is. Come on, open it up. There it goes. Next Monday is Kinsey Puff. That's right. Kinsey of Mac and Liberty is on next Monday. Then it's Dawn the 18th. That's the following Monday. The most important thing is Ernst Van Ziel of Conscious Caracal is my special guest this Wednesday to talk about what exactly is going on in South Africa and the Afra Forum and why it's important for good men to do what's right. So that will be my special guest this Wednesday afternoon. I hope you guys all tune in and have a great time with that. With that being said, happy 4th of July. Love your people, love your country, because ain't nobody else doing it these days. Goodbye. And